Jeff's Superscript is brought to you by Black Cat Comics and Collectibles, in my opinion, the best comic shop and clubhouse on the internet. Follow them at Black Cat Burbank on Instagram and join their claim sales on Tuesdays for new books and Fridays for back issues. And don't forget to ask about joining their Stray Cats Club for special perks.
Hi, I'm Jeff, and welcome to another one of my videos where I take a look at all the new comic books coming out on either March 9th or 10th, 2021. And I ask myself the question, what one new comic book would I buy this week if I could buy just one book? To my loyal fans who have been watching these videos week after week, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. If you wouldn't mind just going ahead and minimizing your screen, hitting that like button, and then maximizing right on up, I would really appreciate the like ahead of time. My views to like ratio has really improved over the past couple of videos, and it's thanks to you going ahead and taking the time to hit that like button. So please hit that like button now. It's sincerely appreciated by me. All right, let's go ahead and start this video by taking a look back at my pick from 2 weeks ago, which was Something is Killing the Children, number 15. And the question is, was that a good and legitimate pick for my just one book pick? And the answer is yes, of course it was. It's Something is Killing the Children. Are you kidding me? It's so good. If you've been watching these videos, you know I'm a big fan of Something is Killing the Children, and issue number 15 was no exception. They did a nice job wrapping up the whole Archer's Peak storyline, but what I really appreciated out of issue number 15 is that it gave us context about the Order of St. George. I kind of better understood what is going on in that group and what Erica Slaughter is rebelling against a little bit, and I appreciated that something that they were keeping way back in the storyline. They kind of brought a little bit forward so I could have better context for the world of Something is Killing the Children. I also think it's going to serve very well when it comes to the next story arc that starts with issue number 16 that comes out in 2 or 3 months, where we go back in time a little bit and get a bit of a prequel story about the history of Erica Slaughter. So I think it was great as a roundup, as a wrap up of the Archer Peak storyline, and as a tee off for the next storyline. And so yes, it gets 2 thumbs up from me. Okay, let's go ahead and move forward and take a look at this week's books, starting with my cover pick for this week. Now, as I was going through the books this week, I really wasn't seeing very many covers that were jumping out to me at all. So I just have one book to mention. It's the only book that came out this week that I was like, okay, now there's a pretty cool cover. And that cover comes from The Autumnal, number 5. I just think it's really cool. The skull made out of leaves that are falling down, the painted art style, the black background, the eyeball in the skull. It's like I said, there weren't any covers that were stopping me, forcing me to take notice, and then this one showed up and I was like, okay, that's a pretty cool cover. And for those reasons, I decided to go ahead and make this cover my cover pick for the week. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the books that are coming out this week. As is always the case in my videos, I'm using League of Comic Geeks to source my information about these books. And League of Comic Geeks lists books from the most polls, or the most popularity, to the least polls, or the least popularity. I will be presenting this list from the least amount of popularity to the most amount of popularity, except for my final pick, which was popular, but not the most popular. Okay, let's go ahead and get started by taking a look at 3 books that come from a publisher that I am unfamiliar with, so I'm assuming they're new. I don't know, maybe they're not. I'm just unfamiliar with them. But I wanted to point out these 3 new books that come out from them. The first book is The Edge from Second Sight Publishing. The description reads, infected by the supersteroid The Edge, Revenant is on a rampage to eliminate Richard Tartable. Can the strike team placed between them stop Revenant, or will they all spread the infection of the Edge further? All right, it sounds kind of interesting, but not particularly interesting. The next one is Lady Freedom, number 1, also from Second Sight Publishing. It says, introduction to the concept of the Superverse and the first appearance of Lady Freedom, Scarlet, Camille, and Black Valkyrie. Lady Freedom is Natalie Cloudrider, a Native American U.S. Army sergeant that volunteers for the Freedom Fighting Program. We join the story sometime after she has donned the uniform and is about to take on her first major challenge, taking down the villainous Black Valkyrie. Well, sounds like a stereotypical superhero story. I guess if you're a comic book publisher, you have to have at least one. This last one of the 3 books from this Second Sight Publishing is actually the most interesting to me. It is called Book of Lyaxia, number 1. The description is a little cryptic, so forgive me if I have a hard time reading it. It says, welcome to the world of Nexus, world of gods from different mythologies. Greek, Egyptian, Norse, Roman gods living together. Join Kronos, Deimos, and Kronos, 2 twin royal brothers, while they try to find where they belong on this realm, what their destiny is. In the first issue, a coup in the capital of the gods, Titan, a coup against twins is underway, and a mysterious figure comes onto the scene that is attempting to guide one of the twins toward his destiny. All right, this is kind of an interesting concept, a world where all these different gods from these different, mythologies are all living together. That could be interesting, and that could be pretty cool. Might be something you consider checking out if you're looking to check out something from this Second Sight Publishing. The next book I want to mention to you is Death by Life, number 1 from Antarctic Press. The description reads, the long angelic wars are over, but Death has been allowed to keep his powers to do his job, though under the watchful eye of the Archangel Meridia. However, with empathy and other moral values at an all-time low, Death finds himself actually bored and fed up with his work. Then an event occurs that causes Death to feel something new to him, the touch of the living. The ramifications could shake the very foundations of existence. Okay, this could be cool. This sounds interesting. I like the cover. This might be one that if you see on the shelf, you pop open, you flip through, you see if there's something interesting in there for yourself that you might check out. The next book I want to mention to you is Nottingham, number 1 from Mad Cave Studios. The description reads, in this twisted medieval noir, the Sheriff of Nottingham hunts a serial killer with a penchant for tax collectors. The sheriff's investigation makes him the target of England's most nefarious power brokers. That's to say nothing of the merry men, terrorists lurking amongst the trees of Sherwood, led by an enigma known only as Hood. Okay, well obviously this is a retelling of Robin Hood from a different perspective. This could be pretty cool, especially if you like Robin Hood stories. The next book I'm going to mention to you is Blade Runner Origins, number 1, Titan Books, that I've mentioned now for the 3rd week in a row. It keeps getting pushed. It apparently might be coming out this week. Moving on. The next book I want to mention to you is God of War, Fallen God, number 1. Now, if you want a full description of this book, go to my FOC video that I put out a few weeks ago that talked about many of the books from this week. I'll put the card for it right up there if you want to check it out. All I'm going to say about this comic book is that it's a God of War book. It's an all-new tale set between the events of God of War 3 and God of War 2018. And in typical God of War fashion, it's about Kratos looking for, redemption. If you are a big fan of God of War, you might want to consider checking this out. This next one is interesting to me. It is Carmen number 1 from Image Comics. Can also be found more information about this in my FOC video. But it's from Spanish writer Guillem March. And it's an edgy new 5-part series about an unconventional angel named Carmen and the young woman she takes under her wing when a case of heartbreak strikes hard. Packed with surprises and metaphysics, this gorgeously drawn series deploys tenderness and humor as it dives deep into topics that matter. This one could be especially interesting, and I highly recommend that if you see this on the shelf, you take it off the shelf and you flip through it and you check it out, because it might be awesome. If I see it on the shelf, I don't plan on buying it at this moment, but I'm absolutely going to check it out, and if it looks interesting to me, I'm going to pick it up. This next one for me, I am buying. It is Proctor Valley Road, number 1 from Boom Studios. Once again, more information about this in my FOC video. But it's from visionary writer Grant Morrison. It's a chilling horror series about the mysterious monsters that haunt Proctor Valley Road and the 4 misfit teenagers who must stop them. Grant Morrison, Boom Studios. It sounds like a horror kind of comic. I'm in. I'm going to check it out. This seems like something that is up my alley these days, and so I am very interested in checking it out. And, you know, it's one of those ones that if you're just looking for a spec book, might be worth picking up just issue number 1, just to throw into the PC, just to have, just in case it ever becomes an optioned project for television or film. And as we know, Boom does have a first look deal with Netflix, so that's always a possibility with these Boom books. The next one I want to mention to you is Deadpool Nerdy 30, number 1 from Marvel Comics. Here's the description. He's the merc with a mouth full of birthday cake. Deadpool's turning 30. And to help celebrate, we've assembled some of his classic storytellers to tell tales of Wade Wilson's birthdays, past, present, and future. A first birthday with time-traveling assassins. A sweet 16 party that would make Molly Ringwald weep. A 100th birthday that could only be celebrated in grand Deadpool style. Blow out the candles, pin the cybernetic arm on the cable, and open this present just for you. Well, if you're a big Deadpool fan, you're excited about this book. This should be basically everything that you love about Deadpool, all in one comic book. You know, Deadpool's one of those characters that I have never read his comic books, but every time, like, you see me smiling as I'm reading this description. I kind of sort of wish I was reading more Deadpool, and maybe this is one that I'll pick up. If I can maybe get it for a good price down the line, I'll check it out. But it seems like a fun read and something worth considering. The next book I'm going to mention to you is Non-Stop Spider-Man, number 1 from Marvel Comics. I'm not going to read the description at all. All you need to know is that it is a brand new Spider-Man book. If you want more information, go to my FOC video. But it looks like it could be cool. It looks like it could be exciting. They're kind of teasing the idea that there could be new bad guys that come out of this non-stop Spider-Man series. Who knows? Amazing Spider-Man has always been the Spider-Man series to collect. And the fact that the Amazing Spider-Man is the only Spider-Man series out there right now has been pretty remarkable. So it's no surprise that they found a way to squeeze in a new Spider-Man story. If you're a Spider-Man fan, you're absolutely going to pick that one up. The next book I want to mention to you is Batman Urban Legends number 1 from DC Comics. It says Batman may be the biggest name in Gotham City, but there are lots of other heroes and villains who will get a turn to shine in Batman Urban Legends, a brand new monthly series tying into the biggest events in Gotham City. This first issue has a story about Red Hood, a story about Grifter, and a story about Harley Quinn / Outsiders. This is written by different authors and drawn by different artists, I believe. One of the writers of this book, and one of the stories, I believe the Red Hood one, is Chip Siddarski. So that's something. I think this is the first time he's ever written for DC, so that might be worth checking out in its own regard. But they're essentially peripheral stories about characters that aren't Batman in the DC universe. It's not the worst idea, actually. There are so many Batman characters that are cool. You can't do stories about them all the time. So give them some side stories and put them all in one book. This was a good concept. And if you're a big Batman fan and basically of all things Batman, this is going to be, I think, an interesting read to check out. The next book I'm going to mention to you is Children of the Atom, number 1 from Marvel Comics. This is also in my FOC video, but I'm going to read the description because it's short. When did the X-Men get sidekicks? Now! Don't miss the debut of the greatest teenage superhero team of all time. A grain of salt, that statement. They've learned from the best, now they're ready to be put to the test. But who the heck are these kids and where do they come from? Guest starring the X-Men. As I mentioned in my FOC video, I wish that these characters were a little bit more original, not necessarily mini-me versions of other X-Men like Cyclops and Gambit and Angel and others, like it does seem to be. As an X-Men fan, I'm going to pick it up. As a fan of first appearances, I'm going to pick it up. So, but it remains to be seen whether or not it's going to be a long-term read for me. But I'm hoping so, because I'd like to find an X-Men book that's out right now that gets me really excited. I'm not sure it'll be this one, but I'm definitely going to give it a chance. The next book I want to mention to you is Daredevil, number 28 by Chip Siddarski. The Elektra as Daredevil storyline continues. Like I said, I'm not reading this one, but I've always heard such great things about this book, so I had to at least mention it to you that it is coming out this week. In addition, similarly, I also want to mention The Immortal Hulk, number 44, written by Ewing. Once again, similar to Daredevil, a great book that I've heard nothing but fantastic things about. Everybody who reads it says it's so great. I am not reading it myself. But even though it's very late in the run, it's not the worst idea to go ahead and pick up The Immortal Hulk, because it's ending with issue number 50, I believe. And so as they get closer and closer to the end, you might be interesting to find out what happens, and potentially things that are key might come out of it. The next book I want to mention to you is on the list at League of Comic Geeks, was the number 1 most pulled book for this week. And it is, as it is almost every week it comes out, The Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 61. The description says, Peter Parker gets a new job, Spidey gets a new look, and Kingpin's plans start coming together. Okay, so when I first heard about Spider-Man's new costume, they were promoting it by showing you one of the covers for issue number 63. And I thought, oh, new suit starting with issue number 63. Well, I kind of guess I was wrong or behind, because if this cover and this description are accurate, then we will see the first appearance of his new suit in this issue. Now, Spider-Man getting a new suit can sometimes be a massively big deal, like the black suit that he got, way back when. Then there are other times where it's not such a big deal. Like I've got this like Spidey armor green cover one that I think I bought in the late 80s, like in the early 90s, that basically isn't very valuable. So he's had other suits in the past. Doesn't always equate to value on the secondary market, but it's hard to just kind of like completely sleep on this. There's going to be a ton of copies of this. I'm going to pick one up. I'm going to check it out. Possibly this will be a first cameo appearance of his new spider suit. Who knows how it will play out within the pages. Also, you got to wonder about this, the A cover where he's split half and half, his old suit and this new suit. Are they going to consider this the first cover appearance of his new suit? There are store exclusives that have him fully in this suit for this issue. Are they going to consider that to be the first cover appearance? I'm sure there will be a debate about this moving forward, but only especially if people decide that the new suit is relevant and worthy of secondary market discussion. But I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to check it out. Basically, if this new suit business doesn't pay out for me with issues number 61, 62, and 63, I've been giving Amazing Spider-Man a chance. It's not really capturing my attention very much. If by the end of issue number 63, that hasn't changed, I'll be dropping Amazing Spider-Man. But for what it's worth, it might be something you consider picking up this week just because of the spec potential of a new suit. All right, folks. This brings us to what will be my pick for this week. And if you've been paying attention to my videos, you probably already, and you know what's coming out this week, you already know what it is. But if I could buy just one book this week, that book would be The Joker, number 1, by my guy, James Tynion IV. Let me go ahead and read the full description for you for this book, since it is, after all, my pick. It says The Joker, Part 1 / Punchline, as you can tell. My co-host here was giving away my pick the whole time. Punchline, Chapter 1. It says, following the events of Infinite Frontier Zero, the Joker is the most wanted man in the world, but the clown prince of crime is several steps ahead of law enforcement, and he's on the run overseas. James Gordon, facing retirement, realizes this is the manhunt of his life and the last piece of a storied career. But what mysterious and deadly forces are also in pursuit of the Joker? And in the backup story, following the events of the smash hit Punchline #1, DC's most controversial new villain navigates the infrastructure of Blackgate Penitentiary, while on the outside, Harper Row takes up the mantle of Bluebird to stop her brother from falling under Punchline's influence. So, the Joker is just about the coolest villain in all of comic books. So you give the Joker his own storyline. I mean, you got his own ongoing monthly comic book. You, I think, have to pay attention to that. When it's written by James Tynion IV, you really have to pay attention to that. He is kind of the lord of all things Gotham right now, it seems. He's kind of in charge of the Batman universe right now. So he's such a great writer. I'm very interested and excited about any story that he's going to be telling. One thing, though, is that this book appears to be just a little bit deceptive, in that it's called The Joker. It's got The Joker on the cover. But if my information is correct, it's going to be mostly a James Gordon storyline. That's okay. James Gordon is a really cool, cool is the wrong word for James Gordon. He's a worthwhile character. Somebody who is basically just kind of a liaison for Batman to the long arm of the law. He's kind of got his own. He deserves his own level of respect in his own right. So I think it's an interesting concept to take James Gordon, who's an inch away from retirement, and have him be like, no. Before I go out, I'm going to go after the most dangerous, the most famous villain that Batman's ever faced, the Joker. So I am excited to see what James Tynion IV is going to do from a storytelling capacity for this book. And hopefully it won't be too James Gordon heavy. Hopefully it's not just him about constantly chasing the Joker, and then you get like 2 pages of Joker at the end. It's like, see ya, and like, I'm gonna find you, Joker, like issue after issue after issue. But if I know my guy James Tynion IV well, he will have figured out a really cool arc and a really cool way to tell this story. And basically, that's all I've got to say about this. You put together the Joker in an ongoing with James Tynion IV, and I am in. And for those reasons, that is why my pick for this week, if I could buy just one book, is The Joker, #1. All right, everybody. As always, I invite you to let me know. A lot of people, you guys aren't basically doing this. You're not really letting me know what your one book of the week would be if you could buy just one book. I would be interested in knowing what your one book. All you have to do is type it in the comments. Type in The Joker, or type in Children of the Atom, or type in Nonstop Spider-Man. Tell me what your one book to purchase would be if you could buy just one book down in the comments. Also, if you didn't already hit that like button at the beginning of the video, here's your second chance to go ahead and do that. If you were waiting to be like, well, let's see, Jeff, if you've earned that like, I hope I did. And so I invite you, please hit that like button right now. In addition, as I always say, if this is the first one of my videos that you've watched, thank you for watching this video all the way to the end, and thank you for finding my channel here on YouTube. I invite you to please go ahead and hit the subscribe guy right here, and make sure you hit that notification bell, because I put out a lot of cool random videos that I don't think you're going to want to miss. Thank you all so much, as always, for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.